This video is for you if you had a glimpse of non-duality, of a transcendent freedom. But at the same time, in your day-to-day life, you can still not completely integrate it. And this is shocking for most people, but relax, it is very normal. It happens to everyone. This is actually how the process goes. So you hopefully been sitting to meditate, and that's how you actually get these glimpses. Otherwise, sometimes spontaneously can also happen to people just because you're wondering about the right stuff. But nevertheless, as you know, I always encourage development of attention and actually spending time with it, because just reading books and watching videos, it's a great starting point, but you need more than that. You need to stabilize that into your life. So given that you actually do sit and make time every day to meditate, you may still find that there's a sense of separation. There's a sense of self. There's a sense of you versus the world. You may wonder how that can still happen even when you completely understand and agree that there is only oneness, that there is non-duality, actually, that's your reality. You sort of grasp it, but for some reason, it's difficult to leave it. Well, again, you're not alone. But the question is, why does that happen? So think about a moment when you feel disconnected. I mean, when you had your moments where you had these beautiful glimpses and understanding, but then it comes Monday morning, you go to work, or I don't know, you're with people, with your family, or with people you know very well, and suddenly just certain kind of patterns come out of you, and you feel strongly separated. You feel strongly attacked sometimes by the commentary of behavior of some people. The question is, what's happening in your mind at that very moment when you're feeling upset? You will certainly notice, if you've been paying attention to your mind, that actually your mind is kind of agitated. That's the first sign. That's why it's so important to spend time stabilizing your mind and calming it down, because the more you do that, the easier it will be to navigate all these day-to-day problems that may come in your path to integrating fully non-duality. So for a moment, just feel that kind of resentment. You feel in that moment where you think this person is wrong, this shouldn't be like this, you shouldn't be like that. It could be self-judgment. But you will notice that actually all this agitation is very much related to judging, to condemning something or someone. Can you see the link between how your sense of isolation, of separation, of duality, you versus the world, you alone as a body and as a mind living in a world that is out of your control, and anything could happen tomorrow and smash your happiness, that feeling? Can you see the relation on how in your mind there's actually a separation that is created in the moment that you judge someone or something? It's a very, very important point. Can you feel it? Can you feel how, if you are honest with yourself, can you admit that as much as you may be very much of a beautiful, pure person most of the time, sometimes you find yourself really out, feeling negative emotions, as they call it. From fear to anxiety to sadness to anything that is restless or kind of like profoundly disturbing. Can you see how you are creating the walls of separation by judging, by separating yourself from other people and other things around you? You see how simple it is. And yet, yes, it may be a challenge to try to integrate that in your daily life. And that's why I'm making this video, to tell you that no matter how contrasted and how frustrated could it be to live these moments where you already knew, and there you may most people watching a video like this, they have some sort of like high peak of glimpse, an understanding that you had once, and you felt actual real freedom and love, and you feel connected to everything, and you feel what some people would call just happiness, but a very kind of profound transcendent happiness. If that happened to you, but at the same time you feel that at some point your old habits, your patterns just kick them back, and you feel, how is possible that after I understood that at some point, how is it possible that I lose it over and over again? And this is the moment of reality check, because it is okay and it's really cool that you had that moment of peak, but this is the beginning, my friend. This is the beginning of awakening. This is like just, oh yeah, this is possible. So congratulations, it's a very huge milestone to just know that. You probably know there is so many people in this world that are just lost in survival animal instincts. So the fact that you actually woke up to your nature is a big deal. And yet you want to completely grasp it in your moment by moment. It feels like something you had before, right? So in order to actually live it, you need to let go. Not like in pushing away judgments in your mind or trying to fakely forgive something or someone. No, by actually recognizing the truth that everything you experience is you ultimately. And that is very disorienting from your separate sense of self. You feel, well, that doesn't make any sense. You're telling me that I am this politician or I am these people who are, well, in some way you have to admit, if you're going for a truth, you have to admit that it's appearing in your experience. So it's your experience. You're experiencing it. So to some degree, you can say that, yeah, there must be a relationship between you and that. So the point here is not to do what you feel is right and most loving in any situation. What I'm suggesting you to do is to let go of all the judgment day by day. That's the difficult thing. That's where everybody fails. That's why you have these people, these teachers who had these glimpses and suddenly they just reverted back to just being someone who makes big mistakes. They still have greed in themselves. That's very normal. That's happening to you. That happened to me, happened to every teacher I had. You just have these moments where you break up and then you have to make the work of integrating in your daily life. How does that look? Well, I'm saying, when you go to the grocery store and someone cuts you in the lane, that's the moment. When someone makes a comment about you, when you are judging yourself, when you are judging anyone else, that's the moment to show up for standing for non-duality and just realizing that these judgments are your partial understanding. They are not truths. It's just standpoint you some way decided to take for survival reasons, but now it's not serving you. You really want to live non-duality, then everything you meet is you. And every time you judge this person, you separate from that person. So your separation, your duality is based on you judging anything and anyone. So don't be surprised if you still find negative feelings, if you still find yourself in this. Just do the work. In Christianity, they will call it just honestly, profoundly forgive, from the sense of understanding that nothing really happened, that we are all one. That's the only way anyone could ever stabilize non-duality. If you think about it in this way, you may say, this makes a lot of sense. How could you consider yourself everything and at the same time judging people? That is literally the way, the mechanism. It's not just negative thinking. It's just not your thinking. It's separation itself. It's the mechanism that makes all this suffering appears in the world. So you have a great responsibility and a great power to dismiss judging, to dismiss blaming and condemning when spontaneously happens in your life. And when it doesn't happen spontaneously in your life and you just feel kind of normal, then sit to meditate, which is basically the same. You will feel the stability of your mind. That's what penetrates and helps you remember non-duality, helps you see that it has been always there. But as far as your mind is agitated, so when you sit to meditate and stabilize your mind and your breath, every time your mind is oscillating, just calm it down, go back to the object. And tiny bit by tiny bit, every time you come back to it, it doesn't matter how many times you are distracted. Every time you come back to it, you're forgiving the illusion that you thought the world was causing on you. And little by little, reality is more and more evident. And you're not doing really anything. You're just calming your mind. And things become self-evident. So that's the way you dissolve duality and find yourself continuously living in a state of non-duality because you are not judging. I hope this makes sense to you, but most importantly, more than speculation, I hope you find this an invitation to actually dare to do that, dare to let go of all your grievances, your past, your condemnation, your judgment, and just live here and now without judging, just spontaneously reacting with love to any circumstance and to anyone and to anything. That is to live in non-duality.